There is a cost to awareness that most people don't talk about, a price to be paid for awareness, to be enlightened, to be included amongst those that know, right? It's a responsibility in that. Once you see clearly, you are responsible for what you allow. And that is the most telling point of being enlightened in any situation. Because once you are aware, all the responsibility falls on you in regards to what you allow from that point on. And that's where it gets really tricky because having someone to blame is always better for most people than blaming themselves, right? Technically, we should have no blame, but whenever whenever we are in that frame of mind where we're seeking somebody to be responsible, accountable for something, the truth is, once you are allowed to see things clearly, it's no longer on them. The truth is, before awareness, people can legitimately hide behind ignorance because, in that case, ignorance is truly bliss. You only know what you know. A person can say that they didn't know, a person can say that they were conditioned, they can even say they were following what they were taught. As you see, with all of those explanations, none of the accountability is on self. And uh, that's what ignorance provides. But awareness removes that shelter. Once you see something clearly, you participate in it as long as you allow it. There is no middle in between that. The truth will be that although you may not want this, although you may not have signed up for this, although you may not have agreed to, as long as you allow it, as long as you participate in it, as long as you allow it to continue or you continue in it, then you are willing. And this becomes true once you have awareness. So even if you're dealing with a liar, or you're dealing with a cheater, or you're dealing with a person that's manipulating situations, or all of the above, you're dealing with it at your job, you're dealing with it at home, wherever, right? Once you become aware, you become complicit when you continue it. It's no longer on the liar now. It's no longer on the cheater. You don't need absolute proof if that's what you're telling yourself. You don't need to wait for somebody to figure it out. These are all choices. And the choice and the truth of that choice, rather, is as long as you are complicit in it, then you continue it and you allow it. And I know that's tough for us to hear or even to embrace because ultimately we can't control what somebody else does, and that much is clear. I can't help that you lied. I can't help that I mean, I can help that I lied, but you can't help that I lied. You can't help how you deal with that. This takes us back to that old saying, right? And that saying is first time, shame on you. Second time, shame on me. And that will always be true as long as you have awareness. And that's one of the responsibilities of awareness and enlightenment. That's why some people consider knowledge a burden, right? To know can be a burden because you got to move differently. This is not just in these terms. This is in every aspect of your life. There's a responsibility, emotionally, intimately, sexually, right? All based off awareness on both parts. Once you see how, once you are aware of the effect you have, or certain things that you do, and the effect that it has on people, you're aware of this now. You can manipulate this or not, but it's a responsibility on you, you know? And the thing about that is when you use certain things on people, when you are already aware of the effect it may have on them, you don't get to control the craziness that may or may not come after it, right? You don't get to control the stalking or the chasing around or the breaking windows or the firing, you out of here, whatever. Because I'm telling you, it applies to every aspect of your life. So again, once you see something clearly, you participate in it as long as you continue it. This is one of the main reasons that people avoid self knowledge, consciously or unconsciously. Not because it's hard to understand, or comprehend, but it's really hard to live with. One of the main reasons why it's hard to live with is because awareness requires alignment, and alignment requires change or creating a new. And that's where the awareness fails us. I'll give you a good example of this. So, you have certain people that look for stuff, and then you have certain people that just let stuff, find them. Like the truth will always reveal itself, like that type of mindset. So, for both of them, there's pros and cons. When you pursue things and look for things, and you oftentimes are going to find what you're looking for. Now, once you find it, what do you do with it? That's the most important part of it because knowing, like any other situation in life, is only half the battle. Now you're aware of what's going on. Now what? Right? Because confronting this person, confronting that person, or whatever the case may be, sitting on it, wait for later, right? Hitting agendas and all of that, or going back tit for tat. Okay, now I'm gonna go do me, or do something like along them lines, or I quit. Whatever the case, because there's so many aspects of life that this applies to. So once you know it, now what? The truth is, you have to be aware of that before you even know. So if I decide to look for this, I know that if I do find it, this is what I'm doing. Do you know this is something that is one of the greatest things that separate men and women in a uniform way. Women have a way of accepting certain things that men cannot, right? Women have a way of forgiving certain things that men cannot, not the average man, right? The average woman can forgive certain things that the average man just cannot. See? And so there's a burden in knowing, right? Because now once you become aware, you got to remember you complicit as long as you allow it to continue. As long as you participate in it, you're complicit in it. So it's not about him or her anymore. Hmm? He lied, she lied, we know. But now what? Well, I deal with the lies. I just wait. Or I'm going to pay, whatever the case may be. It's all on you. And that will always be the fact of the matter. And that's the truth about awareness. So again, awareness demands alignment, and alignment demands change or creating a new. And creating a new requires disrupting discomfort or disrupting your comfort. And that's another thing that it's just not easy for people to do. A key thing to remember in all of this is that responsibility is not blame, right? It's not blame. Blame looks backwards, responsibility looks forward. Blame asks, who caused this? Responsibility asks, how long will I allow this? Blame looks backwards. One of the key reasons and the foundational reason of blame looking backwards, and how it creates lack and a perpetual disease is because you have to regurgitate what's already happened to you, right? And so, as long as you are processing that, allowing yourself to feel that internally, allowing these things to rent space in your head, you are creating more and more disease for yourself. You see? And this is the problem, one of the issues and the major issue about blame. You have to look backwards. You have to process what's already happened, which means what? It's happening every time you think about it. See? Every time you think about something that's already happened, you're allowing it to happen to you again. You're feeling that again, right? And that's the major disease and the foundational lack of blame. Responsibility looks forward. Looking forward creates a different dynamic. You now have hope. You now have a sense of creating self worth and getting back on track. It all depends on what you're looking forward is because it gives you optimism or not, right? And this is where perception plays in and your ability to process what you want as opposed to what you're getting. See? Making two things real, but one thing your reality. Blame is going to ask who caused this, right? Whether it's this pain, whether it's what's broken, whether whatever the case may be, right? That's one of the that's another lack or another part of the disease in blame. Blame want to know who caused this, who's responsible. See, and then it's going to be a certain type of exaction put on that, one way or the other. And that's another thing about blame, because whoever we feel did it, or whoever is discovered to have done it, is going to be held accountable in a penalty and penalized kind of way. And that could be anything. See? And that's the thing about blame. Responsibility, on the other hand, is going to ask you, what will I allow? What will I continue to allow? Whether it's the disrespect at the job or the disrespect at home, whether it's the lack of loyalty wherever or the lack, whatever the case may be, whatever's causing you it, the responsibility is going to ask you, how long are you going to allow it? You see the difference? The two scenarios both create, one creates optimism, one creates dis-ease. One can give you a chance to embrace your wants, the other gives you a chance to stay right in that pain. And little do you know, usually whoever you're upset about or whatever it is that's bothering you, that person is going on with their life. They sleeping right now or enjoying themselves with another person or, whatever they're doing. They're enjoying their life while you mad. See? You upset, they not. That's the problem with it. And how long will I allow that? And this only becomes relevant once you are aware, because awareness creates responsibility. No matter what happened to you in your life, you are not responsible for what shapes you, but you are responsible for what you continue. Now, let's be clear, awareness doesn't make life easier. That's not what I'm saying at all. It makes it honest, it makes it clean, it makes it true. The main reason why is because it removes excuses. It removes all the hiding places, right? All the little dugouts that we like to go to, our little standbys and our go tos for when things get difficult or when responsibility is presented in our face where we got to be accountable for something. Every person has those little things that they do, those places where they go, where they use to divert attention and to cause some dis-ease to get the focus off what's actually taking place here. The main point. You can't do anything about that, but you can recognize it. And once you do, once you are aware of it, you have a responsibility. And for those who are willing to carry it, it offers something that's truly rare: agency. Freedom isn't the absence of control, it's the acceptance of responsibility, it's the acceptance of awareness, it's the responsibility of tapping in, tuning in, and turning on. It's the reality of you seeking alignment. It's the reality of you seeking a better you and trying to do all these things to empower yourself. This is why I talked to you in the last episode that it's not a lot of things that you don't need like new things. You need to remove the things that are not you, that already exist in your life. What are you continuing to allow that's not really you? Where are you at right now? What are you doing? What's going on with your time? What are you allowing around here? See, this is where the alignment really comes in. Because at the end of the day, once you have awareness, it's completely on you. Your parents, your relationships, your circumstances, they only play a certain part in what's going on. The most important part, the higher percentage of the equation, relies on you. And I touched on how ignorance can afford you some time or afford you some type of avoidance of certain responsibilities, but that don't mean it makes it any easier for you. The truth of the matter is, awareness is the thing that we should all seek most. Awareness is what aligns us most. But awareness is like only half of the battle because you have to be able to what? Implement what you know. And we understand that if you do not, then you are complicit in whatever's going on. Consciously or unconsciously, you're allowing it. You're okay with what's actually happening. This is why Earl Nightingale's statement will always be true. And I'll close with this, which is every person, every person that you see on earth, outside of those who can't take care of themselves, meaning like children, every person you see is exactly where they want to be. Only the wealthy and the successful like to admit that. Because if you are not where you want to be, you will be doing everything you can to not be there. That was true then, and it's true now. Peace.